In this video I'm going to show you how to make this handy ironing and cutting station. Ironing because on this side it's actually covered with a reflective ironing board cover fabric, and cutting because on the inside I've got an A4 cutting mat and a little pocket on this side to keep my patterns and papers in. It's quite simple to make. Here's how. So there's my A4 cutting mat. You can make this in any size you like depending on the size of the mat that you have. I'll need 2 pieces of plywood, and this is simply recycled plywood. As you can see, it came out of the back of a picture frame, and that needs to be about 1/2 inch or a centimetre larger than my cutting mat all the way around. So 2 pieces of that. Then I'll need 2 pieces of foam, or you could use wadding if you don't have any foam, and I've literally sprayed that with very strong adhesive spray and glued it to one side of the plywood. And then you'll need 1 piece of just ordinary wadding or fleece just to wrap around, so slightly larger than your board, wrap it around, and again that is glued in place. So you can see the way it's starting to build up already. I'll need 1 piece of fabric, which is large enough to go all the way around my board, and that's going to fold over, and I'm going to start stapling this now, just to make it really nice and secure. I will need a piece of A4 card, and this is going to cover over all of those loose ends when it comes around like this. So to make the card look nice, I need another piece of fabric which is big enough to wrap all the way around the card. Now we're getting fancy, because I also want to put a pocket across the card. This is going to be on the inside of the folder, so I'll need another piece of fabric to the same width. That's about 12 inches, and this piece is folded in half at the moment and I pressed it, but that measures about 9 inches in depth, and you can build up as many pockets on there as you wanted to, but I'm just going to do the one for now. So there's going to be fabric on one side of my board, on the other side is going to be an ironing board. So this time the foam's going to be covered with a reflective wadding. This is like got a silver thread running through it, so it helps the heat to bounce back again. And then on top of that is going to be my ironing board cover. This is literally an ironing board cover. I know you can buy the fabric like this, but I find it a lot more affordable to actually buy an ironing board cover and chop a bit out. So that wraps around the back. That needs to be large enough so that when your mat goes over the top, it again covers all of the raw edges, and that is going to be glued on top. 2 final things I need to do is to make handles. I've already sewn one together, and these handles are 15 inches long. You can make them any length you like, 4 inches wide. Fold them in half, press, fold the end bits inwards, press, and sew down the sides to make your handles. And then I also need a spine, and here I've got 2 pieces of fabric which measure about 2.5 inches by 12 inches. Right, so that's your list of ingredients. Your tools you're going to need are a staple gun with a 1/4 inch or 6mm staples. You'll need a glue gun, hot glue gun, and heavy duty spray adhesive, and a pair of scissors. Right, so let's get going. And a sewing machine. So let me just sew together the second handle first of all. Then we can put those out of the way until needed. So literally just sewing down both sides here. And because you've got the 4 layers of fabric, you don't actually need any wadding in the middle of it, so don't worry about that. So we'll do the handles, then I'll do the spine. Two handles to one side. This is the spine. Remember, I've got those 2 strips of fabric, and what I'm going to do with these is right sides together, just sew over the short ends. Just make sure they're straight. I'll turn this the right side out, just finger crease across the seam and then top stitch just to hold all of the pieces together. And the same on the other end. And that just gives a nice neat finish. Make sure that's straight. What will help a little bit, this isn't necessary, which is why I didn't include it in tools, but you will find it quite handy, is a little bit of repositionable spray adhesive. I've just put the plastic down there to protect the table. I'm going to be doing a lot of spraying, and just spray on the inside, and that's just going to hold the pieces together. That'll make sense when I start to put the whole thing together shortly. Repositionable is a good idea because that's not quite straight. I can open it up, realign it, and flatten it so that it's neat. Again, not imperative, but it is quite useful. Right, pocket next. So my fabric is folded in half, as you can see, but I'm still going to sew right sides together to make a long tube. So just across the long edge here. Let's turn this tube the right side out. I'd press that normally. And then over the folded side, that's going to be the top of the pocket, and I'm just going to top stitch just to give it a nice finish. There's my pocket. Again, give that a press. Now the pocket, if you remember, is going to go on the inside, and this is going to be on top of the piece that is wrapped around the card. So probably the easiest thing to do, I've actually got a couple of pieces of card there because mine wasn't too thick, is to just crease this around so that I can see how much space I've got and where to position my pocket. And this is going to go about 1.5 inches or 2 inches from the bottom, doesn't have to be exact. So I'll pop a couple of pins in here, and I'm going to stitch across the bottom of the pocket to secure it, and then just a few tacking stitches down the side just to hold it in place while I work with it. Just make sure that's straight and flat. You could put dividers in the pockets as well if you wanted to. I shan't with this one because I'm kind of thinking I may want to keep something like cardstock in there. But if you wanted to do a few pockets layered on top of each other, or maybe even put dividers in there to keep things like pencils or brushes, then you can tailor make it. Right. So let's get spraying this. Again, I'm going to lay out a piece of plastic, so excuse the noise. I don't want to get spray anywhere near my sewing machine or on my table. And let's spray the back of the fabric. And this is really heavy duty. I'm not using the hot glue gun because sometimes that can be a little bit lumpy and I don't want it to show through the fabric. So keeping this nice and flat and positioned over the top of that crease mark that I just made. On it goes. Oh, it's very sticky. Wrap around the sides. I can take this off the plastic now. And around that side. I'm not worried about these edges not being perfect. Oops. Let's fold over the end. I know there's no glue underneath here, that doesn't matter. Just need that to be tidy. So I'm going to tuck the ends in. And the same on these ends. So let's fold those in. I'll fold it over so it's a bit like wrapping up a parcel. And there we have it. So there's my pocket. And that's going to go on in just a second. All these glue marks should dry. Okay. So let's take the side of the fabric that I've already put the wadding onto. And we're going to wrap the fabric around. So again, here we have them with my plastic. That goes face down. And pull that nice and tight and wrap it over. I think I will put a few staples in there as well. If you're using a staple gun, make sure that your staples aren't deeper than your plywood, because the last thing that you want is for them to be coming through to the other side so you spike yourself on them. So let me just fold that over and we'll see how we look from the right side, the important side. Nice and smooth, that's fine. And then we'll just have a few staples in here just to hold the whole thing in place. And again, I want these staples to be underneath the mat. So don't staple them too close to the edge. And I think just one in each corner will be fine for this. Oh, you're not very tidy. Do that corner again. So again, just wrapping it up like that's better, like a birthday present. And again for this one. Maybe another couple. Okay, so that's one side almost finished, just needs the handles and the spine there. So let's complete the other side, which has the ironing board section on it. So again, we're going to do a bit of spraying. So, wadding first. This is the insulated one, remember? Board in the middle. And wrap this around. What I'm going to quickly do, should have done this before really, is just snip off the corners. So I've just got a little less bulk. Might have to clean my scissors after this one. That'll do. And then I'm glad that's not on my table. Then I've got the ironing board cover. And that goes on top. And again, we'll wrap this around. Right, I can move my plastic now because we're done with that. So pull this nice and tight. I will put some staples in this one because this is quite thick now. Fold over the ends, keep that neat. And the same with that one. So it always looks better when it's just kept nice and tight. done that before. That's it, got a bit of a crease there, so I'll just, that's it, pull that tight. Lovely, so that's what we're looking from the outside. Now then, let's piece this thing together. So those are the two outside pieces, sections. So obviously those are the two inside sections. Now we need to separate them and put the spine down the centre. And I need to leave a bit of a gap there because, remember, I want this to close. If the gap's too tight, then it's not going to actually fold over. So I'd have a gap of just over an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter. We're going to drizzle some glue just along the edge here. I'm not moving the boards because I've got my gap that I want there. Okay. Just make sure, I'm just going to stand up so I can see that that's straight. That's it. If you've got your cutting mat, you could measure that perfectly. Then that's going to go on there. And careful with this glue because it really is hot. It's actually that hot. Okay. Now when that's dry, which doesn't take very long at all, probably a bit longer than I've just done it though. We're going to take our handles, and these are going to go either side, like so. And they can be as long or short as you like. So let's measure where they're going to go. I would say 3 inches from either side. So give that a mark. 1, 2, 3. Whoops. And these I'm going to glue, but I'm going to staple as well. So you can go there. And there. I'll just have a staple either side, like so. And then I can use this as a guide to mark where the handles on the other side are going to go. So again, that's how we're looking. Just need a little bit more glue behind there. I can see that dried before I actually put the fabric on it. Shows how quickly it dries. And up there. Right. Now the final little bits are my mat, which is going to go on here. Looking neat. This is going to be glue gunned. And I'm going to put a lot of glue on here because I don't want that to come loose. Again, need to be quite quick. Here we go, another one. Quite quick with this because it does dry so quickly. So, make sure it's the right way around. On it goes, and press. It will kind of prise off if you get it in the wrong place, if you're quite quick. That's that. And then on the other side here is where my pocket's going to be. So that's going on there. So again, I'll use my glue gun. And then I'm going to go around and staple as well. I don't need to glue gun right in the middle of this one, I'm just going over the edge. Because I don't want, you can go in there. I don't want lumps in the middle. Making sure I get right into the corners. And as close to the edge as I can, so you be a little bit more careful than I'm being when you do this at home. And that again covers over the handles. Now your glue may be strong enough to hold that, which is great. If you wanted to put a few extra staples around the edge just to hold that in place, then of course you can do. Of course you're going to see those as well, but that's fine. So once my glue is all dried, I'm finished. I can fold this over. I can iron on the go. And because I've left that nice big gap in the spine, if I wanted to fold this over and do a little bit of crafting on my knee, then I've got the opportunity to do that as well.